What's up, YouTube? Today I'm going to talk about option approval levels. This is Todd Horst, and I'm with Tasty Tracker. So first up, let's talk about the strategies and their associated levels. With level 1, we have covered calls and puts. That's where you have 100 shares of a specific stock and a call that you sell that's above the price range. But anyway, that's sort of getting too much into the details. Anyway, that's sort of basic level, and you need a lot of capital. We'll talk about covered calls later, but you need to buy 100 shares of any given stock, so it's going to cost you quite a bit of money, especially on the higher valued ones. Level 2 is when you can buy a call or a put. Level 3 is selling puts, which means because each level includes the previous level, with level 3 you can do spreads because you can sell one call and then buy a higher strike call. And then the fourth level is the final level. That's uncovered or individual calls or puts, buying or selling. And the reason that's level 4 is because if you sell a put or sell a call and don't sell any other or don't purchase any other protection, you could be setting yourself up for a large loss if it goes against you. So there are a couple ways to get these different approval levels. The first way is to earn it over time. You start off a regular account, then you ask for permissions to play with options, and they start you off in a level 1, and then after some time showing that you're not blowing up your account, they'll move you to level 2 and then so on. That's obviously going to take the longest amount of time. The next way is after your account's actually already set up, you can modify your settings and reapply. I did that on my first account before I knew how to sort of game the system a little bit. But I spoke with support, and this was actually on Robinhood, and the first time I applied, I got denied because of some of my settings. I went back in, changed it, immediately reapplied, and immediately got approved for a higher level. Last way is you can do the proper settings at the time you're creating your account, and then you don't have to go through modifying it and reapplying, which does sort of look suspect from the brokerage standpoint. I've seen online a bunch of people asking about how to get approved for a higher level, so that's why I'm making this video. And a lot of misinformation where they're saying it has to do with your balance, which is completely false because I have an account with almost every brokerage, and excuse me, I have a cold here. But I have an account with almost every brokerage. Most of them don't have any money in, and I have level 4 on all but one, and in that one I have a level 3. So anyway, you could definitely read more. I have a link here. I'll have it in the description explaining the different levels. But my advice is to just be very generous with the amount of experience, income, net worth, the amount of resources that you have that are liquid. Anything that says how much experience or available cash you have, you want to put it up. Now, don't go crazy that it's completely unrealistic. You know, you're 20 years old and you're saying you're a millionaire, but at the same time, I've never been asked to validate or show proof of anything. So I take what I actually have and just boost it up just a little bit, you know, to make it seem like I have more money. You can think of that as lying. That's up to you. The whole point of this, though, as my third bullet point here states, is these are sort of gates that are meant to protect you. So if you don't earn it organically, or you try to circumvent it in some way, then that's on you, really. So I was prepared to accept the risk of me sort of jumping ahead, and I haven't blown up my account. That doesn't mean you won't, but you need to understand that if you're trying to get a higher level, then that's the risk that you're taking. I will say, though, that I believe level 3, which if we go back here is the spreads, the spreads is the most likely to be successful and safest way to be profitable on options, especially if you're just getting started. And so I think it's a little bit absurd that they start you off with a level 1 covered calls. If you're starting off with options, you probably don't have that much money to buy 100 shares and then sell a call on top of that. So anyway, again, I'll do a covered call video later. The second bullet point, which I skipped over real quick, was the speculative trading. Now, they want to see what kind of trader you are, and if you're saying you're going to do long-term investing, then you really shouldn't be playing with options. So if that is your goal, then don't bother doing any of this. But if you actually do want to play with options, you can't say you're an investor. You're considered a trader, and a speculative one at that. So jumping down to the fourth point here, as I said before, I've never been asked to prove anything, and on top of that, it's an automated system. So typically when I think all but 2 brokers, I was approved instantly with the settings that I put in. Fidelity and I'm trying to think of the other one, E-option. Both of those did take a couple days, 2 days I think, to create my account and approve me for options. So anyway, I have some Fidelity screenshots walking through the account creation process. But before I get to those, I'll just go ahead and do the closing here. I'll have links for all my referral codes in the description. Share, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I have a year's worth of videos, so check back. And again, my website's stacytracker.com. You can track stocks and options. It has a bunch of things that your broker doesn't have, such as the break-even calculator, dividend assignment risk calculator. And it does properly handle rolling options, which when you get into that, you'll notice that no broker handles correctly. I've got some analytics and a diary, which is important to keep track of your thoughts through the whole process of trading. There's a free demo account, so there's really no reason to not go try it out. I have a referral program that can make you money each month, and it's only $9.99 a month before any of your referrals come in. So go check it out. And the last point, I have a disclaimer here. This is just for educational purposes only. So let's hop over to my Fidelity. Okay, hopefully you can see that. Is that full screen? Yep. Okay, so first of all, I click the Open Account button. Then I'm going to open a brokerage account. I do have a IRA with Tastyworks, so if that's what you're going for, you could do a Roth or traditional IRA. In this instance, I'm just doing a brokerage account so I can take out any of my proceeds. I'm going to be an individual owner. I'm not a Fidelity customer at the moment, so I filled in my details there. You're going to have to fill in with any brokerage account that you sign up for your Social Security, your address, where you're employed, all your contact information. So don't be surprised by that. Here's the bottom of that screen. And then here's an interesting one. They ask how many trades I plan on doing. So of course I put that to the top, which was 120 plus trades per year, which honestly I'll exceed that very easily, but make sure you put that up the whole way. Then there's identity verification, where they ask me, previous addresses I've lived, etc. And then this screen, again, all brokers are going to ask this, whether you have any affiliation with any kind of broker or company. I do not, so those are no. Obviously, don't lie about any of this stuff here. That'll get you in trouble. So I have my employment information. Then they ask you where you want your cash to be held, and so by default they have it in this money market account, which gives you barely any interest, but at least it will give you some. So any cash that's sitting in your account, you'll get some interest. And I prefer to get email with all my documents. Then here's the confirmation screen. You had to accept all their terms. And then my account's ready to fund. Now, at that point, I can log in and I can trade stocks, but I haven't gotten to the options part. Okay, so now I've logged into my account and I click on the investment products options submenu, and I hit the apply button over here. It's highlighted in yellow to make my account enabled for options. Again, you have to go through some more demographic information. I'm not sure why they ask you this stuff twice. But here's where we get to the point where you have to give your annual income, net worth, liquid net worth, and then your tax bracket. I actually don't even know my tax bracket, so I just checked one. But the liquid net worth and the estimated net worth are two ones that they really look at there. Then they ask you how much experience you have. So obviously, stocks and bonds are pretty common, so I put those at 10 years. And then options and commodities I have for 5 years. That's still probably enough. If you want to boost that up to 10, that's fine. But 5 years should be enough to get you in. How frequently do you trade options? 50 per month, that's about right. Size of these options transactions, mine range between 100 and 1,500. So of course I just put sort of the happy medium there, but even I could have put that higher. And I put Tastyworks as my current brokerage. That's where I do most of my trading at. Here's a pretty neat chart that they provided to help you determine what your objective is and what Fidelity sees. And again, this is going to be pretty similar across the board. But you want to be in the most aggressive column if you want to get into options and get approved for it. Any of these other ones, they're going to say you're not crazy enough, for lack of better words, to deal with options. But certainly if you're conservative, you're not going to be approved. So you can pause this here and read through those. That's pretty interesting. You need a margin account to trade with options. So again, that chart before, they even point you in the direction you need to go. If you're any one of these, you're basically going to get a low level, if anything at all. But if you're most aggressive, then they're going to put you up the whole way. And then I think I even had to put most aggressive to check these bottom three. If you check the top one, you can only check these top two. So I want to shoot for the moon here and get everything approved. So I hit most aggressive and then check everything. Again, experience level. Across the board, I'm putting that I have the most experience. And yeah, okay, that's the last screen. I think screens 8 and 9 were confirmation of what you have to do. So of course, after a day or so, I got approved for options trading and then could fund the account. I'll do a review of all the platforms later, but honestly, I don't really like the Fidelity platform, so it's not something I'm really interested in. But you never know how things are going to develop in the future, so that's why I set one up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Again, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.